Limpopo today, and we're talking to Premier Mathabatha about the Limpopo Development Plan and also some of the issues in the province and concerns that you have. And we're going to put some of those questions to him now. And social cohesion is one area that he put in his provincial development plan, because everybody has to work together actually for this document to take life and to actually make a difference. And so let's explore that. You know, when Malamulele came up, and we're going to talk about that, one of the things that came up was we want our own municipality. We're seeing the vandalization of this province. Shangans are not happy. And then more recently, xenophobic violence as well. I believe 8 people were arrested yesterday in Tabazimbi for looting and burning shops. So let's deal with some of these social issues, Premier. How are you going to deal with that if everybody is going to work together?
Again, Peter, all these things that we are talking about are just effects that emanate from a particular cause. And the cause is economic development, you know. If people are needy, they will always have that kind of problem. Because if people are unemployed and they see somebody creating jobs and somebody employing other people that are not necessarily coming from their area, they will come up with those kind of thinkings. Sometimes those kind of social problems arises out of mere perceptions, but in most instances is because of the economy itself. So what are we doing to foster that? We make it a point that we go to our people, we talk to our people, we conduct awareness, we go on an awareness drive as to what is it that is possible. Like, let's take the problem of Malamulele, for example. I've always said to people that I've never understood the problem of Malamulele to be a tribal or ethnic issue. Yes, ethnicity, the problem that exists there can manifest itself in a form of ethnicity, but that is not the problem. The problem is the poverty that exists in that area. Even if the municipality, the Thulamela municipality, is actually spending most of its budget in that area of Malamulele. Why? Because when you look at the area of Towando and the like, it's far much more developed than the area of Malamulele and the like, because of the history, because of the legacy. You know, Towando was the capital city of the former Venda Republic at that time. So a lot of money, a lot of infrastructure was invested in that area. But that was not the same case with Malamulele and the like. You know. Now, when the people of Malamulele leaves from Malamulele and go to Towando and see this development, obviously, they will develop a view that says most of the money spent this side than this side. You know. So that's when it manifests itself.
So there's no real tensions. If I'm Tsonga, I don't need to worry.
No, there are tensions. Yeah. There are tensions. What I'm trying to explain is the cause of these tensions. Okay. Yes, we can't be naive.
But they're not tribal per se, but economic. Is that what you're saying? Is what's fueling these growing tensions?
Absolutely.
And the xenophobic violence.
I was commending the people of Limpopo 2-3 days ago that there is no xenophobic violence in the province currently. Of course, we had this incident in the Waterberg, the site of Tabazimbi, in Tabazimbi, in fact. But the information that I had, fortunately the MEC is here, she will be able to give us a clear brief of what happened, because she was there till very late last night. The report that I received is that it was a simple criminal issue, that ended up giving a picture of xenophobia when it was not necessarily xenophobia. Somebody was trying to rob somebody's shop, and that's what sparked the whole thing.
So it's coincidence that they happen to be Pakistani and Somali?
Sorry?
Is it coincidence that they happen to be Pakistani and Somali shops?
If you don't have any other shops in an area, you have got Pakistani and Somali shops, or you've got 80% of shops which are owned by Pakistani and Somalis. Obviously, the laws of probability will tell you that they will be the ones who are more affected than others.
Right. Okay. And then very briefly, statues. We've seen the defacing and damaging of statues, and I would imagine in this part of the world there's quite a number of those. I believe that some of them might have been removed or protected ahead of a wave of destruction. What is the state of protecting these statues or removing them using the law?
Maybe I'm not sure if the MEC is here, Arts and Culture.
Is the MEC for Arts and Culture here? If we could stand up.
Oh, black man, you're on your own.
Okay. All right. What I want to do is, I will come back to that question, but I just want to go to Johannesburg very briefly, because Valen is getting some tweets coming through, and there's some questions that we might be able to add to these as well. So Valen, if you want to just share your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much, Peter. Appreciate coming back to you. We've had a lot of SMS, or rather tweets, people making use of our Twitter handle at Morning Live SABC, getting very involved in this conversation. And that's something that you want to see. People are engaged. And it seems as if people from this province really do want to get involved, and they'd like some answers. Here's some of the questions. Does the Limpopo development plan have clear, definable time period targets? If yes, elaborate practically when and how. So we want targets, and we want to know how exactly everything that they want to achieve will actually be done. Morwa Sipuma says, is the Premier considering doing a campaign to lure back experienced and skilled people from the province that may be in Gauteng so they can come back home and plough their experience back there? Another question, I would like to understand the policy of building RDPs, since in Moganyaka, people with big houses are getting the privilege. I'm sure that perhaps that is that person's experience, and how they're going to be tackling that. Limpopo government is not giving job opportunities to FET college graduates. How does, I would say, the government plan to accommodate those FET college graduates for money? Tabo Nkasi says, any plan with regards to the inclusion of young people into the supply chain of infrastructure projects? Regards, Tabo. All right, so you can see there that many people are engaged in this conversation. Young people too, they want to know what opportunities are out there. I know you've tackled that issue of the opportunities for young people, but there are some questions which really ask for specific outcomes and for specific answers. So let's go back to the Premier and Peter.
Valen, thank you very much indeed. Okay, so a number of questions, and the first one interests me as well, because the National Development Plan is there, and it's a chunky document. It needs to be detailed, but the challenge that we have is, how do we make it work? How do we implement it? Plans. If there's one thing that South Africans are good at, is planning, but the doing becomes the issue. And this person wants to know, how is it going to come to life? First of all, I guess, is where is this plan? Where do we access it? How do I get to read it and embrace it?
No, I think I took your criticism that it is not in the website, but I thought it is. But we'll look into that one. But the questions that the viewers are asking, some of them we have already responded to them. as to whether you'll have clear and definite targets within the Limpopo Development Plan. The Limpopo Development Plan is a master framework, and out of that master framework, you'll have departmental APPs, where the MECs will be coming to the Premier and say, Premier, this is what I'm going to do, and they will be going to the legislature and say to the legislature, this is what we are going to do in terms of implementing this plan. That is where you'll get very clear targets and the like. But the 10 high-level strategic targets also are also trying to be 10 broad, all-embracing targets that this plan is attempting to achieve. Like, for example, if you say, I want to achieve an average economic growth rate of 3% by 2020, what you are saying is that there must be a lot of other economic development plans and strategies that are built into this so that we can achieve this 3%. And those strategies and plans will also have clear time frames and targets.
All right. Okay. I want us to go to the floor now. And this question from, is it Pasha Henry, table 25, is going to help us explore some of the pillars of your plan, agriculture, mining. And Pasha has got a question for you. Table 25.
Thank you. May the soul of the foreigners and the South Africans who passed away during the xenophobia attack rest in peace. Well, my question is in brief, Premier. I wanted to know the plan of the province of Limpopo regarding the beneficiation on minerals, especially those minerals which comes across a Messina border, coming all the way from the SADC countries. Thank you.
Okay, beneficiation.
Yes. I think that's exactly what I started with when I said we need to change from this kind of approach, paradigm, to a different kind of paradigm. That we have already developed what you would call your industrial strategy, that is designed specifically for that the passion. If you look at the project that we have already started, the cement project in is it Tabazimbi or Lepalali? Tabazimbi. The cement project in Tabazimbi is actually talking to that. If you look at the SEZ program in Tubatsi and the other one in Musina, it precisely talked to that. In Musina already we've got a company that has already committed 38 billion rands towards that, towards beneficiation. Remember, Musina is our gateway, and at the same time you've got diamonds, you've got coal there, you've got a number of other minerals there. So that SEZ is actually going to attempt to look into that problem. And already, like I'm saying, there are commitments to that effect.
All right. I'm going to go to table 18, and we've got, is this Mashangu Chivambu? It's got an important question here. I think Brian Malifa sort of spoke to it a little bit, but perhaps if you could raise the issue, because it is a concern for you, and I think you work at ESCOM as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Peter. I've got a question to the Honorable Premier. Honorable Premier, I personally view the theft of electricity as well as the equipment which is supplying electricity as an act of treason. I think the current energy challenges have demonstrated that energy have got the potential to bring the economy of the country on its knees. Now, the question that I want to ask is, how can the province assist in ensuring that the communities where we install electricity take ownership of the infrastructure that we're building? because some socio-economic challenges can be addressed through technical solutions. And the second one is, if I look at the consequences of the people who are doing these acts, they seem to be very lenient. And if we agree that it is an act of treason, I know Nelson Mandela was spent 27 years in jail for the same offense. And Jesus Christ of Nazareth was nailed on the cross. But the people who are doing electricity-related treason, they are getting away with murder. Thank you.
Okay, so Premier.
Hey, this one is very unfair. He wants me to do his job. Well, I think I totally agree with you, because if we don't come together, do these things jointly, there's no ways in which we are going to effectively deal with the problem of theft of either electricity and other equipment, electricity equipment. It is a very important question that you are raising, and I guess you are not raising it simply because you want the Premier to give you the exact strategy of what the Premier is going to do to see to it that he becomes a Majinglan of these things. You are actually bringing the importance, the awareness and importance of everybody in the province taking this as his responsibility and her responsibility to ensure that the equipment of ESCOM are not stolen. The equipment, the cables are not stolen. Because if you do that, you may cause loss of life. You are perpetrating the underperformance of the economy, which simply says the poverty trap will continuously be with us because we don't have electricity to propel this economy. It is very critical, I agree with you. I will be with the acting CEO tomorrow in the PICC with the president. I think perhaps if you can advise him to also raise it there, I'll support him.
All right, so Premier, he's raised an interesting question about crime, and I'm just wondering, is part of the challenge that you're not coping with the amount of crime in the province? I was shocked to read that just over the Easter weekend, 963 people were arrested, 122 for assault, 13 for murder, 20 for rape, 21 for armed robbery. That is a lot for a weekend.
Perhaps the reason why they are arrested is very important, that we are trying to make it a point as a province, to make it a point that this province remains the safest province in the country. As you know that we are the safest province in the country. You can be rest assured that you cannot be robbed of your cell phone whilst you are conducting this interview.
All right, so this statistic doesn't concern you?
It does. It definitely does.
Yeah.
It definitely does. It reflects the nature of the society that we are dealing with. Remember, we've got 4 big churches. I think they are the biggest churches in the country that congregates in Easter weekends, all of them. And I think the criminals also think that is the right time.
Christmas
for
has
them.
come early.
Yes, because you'll have the ZCC alone having about 7 million people.
We haven't talked about agriculture, and I think this is an important pillar of your plan as well. So I'm going to ask, is it Moyabo Rampedi, table number 2, to ask the question, because I think this is actually quite important. Table number 2, we'll find, is it Moyabo Rampedi?
Good morning. My name is Moyahabo Wagarampedi. We are youth involved in a cooperative. The reason why we formed that cooperative is that we realized that our people are actually selling vegetables which they plant at home to buy meat. And to us, that was a great concern. We believe that we need to educate our societies that food security is of great importance, and this will lead to healthy lifestyles, and it will certainly promote poverty alleviation. We would like to know what kind of support does the government give to youth that have formed the cooperatives? Because we run from pillar to post, we hear that cooperatives are very important, but when we try to get training is very important so that we can do the right thing for our people. And we are not getting any help in that regard. We also want to know that what advice can you give us to actually access international markets in order to promote our products? Because as youth, we are tired of hearing that the youth are not active. We try, we would like to know, and we would like to contribute to the economic development of our province.
All right, thank you very much indeed. So co-ops are high on your agenda. How do we help her?
I'm not sure if leader is here, but MEC, can you respond if leader is not here?
Okay.
Thank you. I'm actually very much surprised to hear that there are people who are running around not getting any help, because we've got dedicated teams that are focusing mainly on cooperatives, development of cooperatives, but as well in terms of accessing new opportunities for those cooperatives. And I would welcome young people, particularly young people, because we believe that if they are the ones who get interested in cooperatives, we then have got a future. So we would like to welcome them to come to the department and make sure that they can actually get that assistance, because we are at the moment assisting more than 3,700 cooperatives. And hence we are saying that we are working with various departments to ensure that all these cooperatives that we are talking about are going to ultimately make sure that they are also getting a stake in terms of the provincial procurement that we are having, whether it's the Department of Education, whether it's Department of Health and other departments. And we are actually walking the talk. We do not just talk. We are saying we are there to assist them. We are there to support them. Confidently, they must just walk to LEADET and leader. They'll get that assistance. If they don't, then they can knock at my office. They are welcome. Thank you.
All right, while the microphone is there, can I just ask you to give the microphone to Mr. Brian Malife? I think some people might not have caught our conversation earlier on. And so perhaps if you could just give us a little bit of an indicator of what's the plan to keep the lights on in the near future, in the long term as well. Given that the province has got these ambitious plans.
Peter, as I said earlier in the interview outside, that our problem really is to catch up with maintenance. It's not that we do not have electricity, we just have to maintain the existing equipment and catch up with backlog maintenance. But going forward, we have a program for new build where we're spending 580 billion. Two of the most ambitious power stations, modern, are in fact here in Limpopo. And I think as a result of that, because the power stations are here, there is a possibility that we can achieve 100% electrification of Limpopo after a certain period. We still need to work, understand the provincial development plan, how ESCOM fits in, and how we can contribute towards 100% electrification of the province. But that is possible because we are busy finishing building two of the biggest power stations, the latest and the power stations that have the latest technology here in Limpopo. At Kusile and Medupi. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much indeed, Acting CEO Brian Malife at ESCOM. All right, Premier, we run out of time, so perhaps in about 40 seconds, your final thoughts about this plan for the province going forward. What would you like the people of Limpopo to know most about it? Very briefly, in 30 seconds.
I would like the people of Limpopo to know that this is a people-centered plan. and it needs their participation. Please join hands with government. This plan will be made a success.
All right, Premier, thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Premier of the Limpopo Province, Premier Chupu Stanley Mathabatha. Thank you very much indeed for your thoughts, and thank you at home for watching this program, and hopefully other provinces may have learnt from the conversation that we've had. We certainly wish the people of Limpopo the best of luck. But until the next one, have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.